Greetings from a fishing village on the Atlantic coast. You've tuned in to Podcast Portwenn, celebrating the world of Doc Martin unofficially. I'm Chesla Wechsler, and we'll be discussing Doc Martin, the medicine, the mayhem, and the marvelous people of Portwenn. Podcast Portwenn is an independent fan production, not affiliated with, endorsed by, or sponsored by Buffalo Pictures, ITV, Fox, or the creators of Doc Martin or Best Medicine. Like you, I'm a big fan of the original show, created by Dominic Minghella, produced by Buffalo Pictures, and starring Martin Clunes, Caroline Katz, Ian McNeice, Selena Cadell, Joe Absalom, and an endless cast of wonderful actors. The character of Doc Martin had its genesis in a movie titled Saving Grace, which included Dr. Martin Bamford, played by Martin Clunes. That was followed by two movies, with Dr. Martin Bamford, Doc Martin, and Doc Martin and the Legend of the Clutie. Without going into a lot of detail, then a miracle occurred, and we were presented Dr. Martin Ellingham, a character we loved, or who made our heads explode, or, if you're me, both could be true at the same time. Buffalo Pictures is a production company owned by Philippa Braithwaite and Martin Clunes, who are wife and husband. They have produced a wealth of entertaining and edifying content, shows like Doc Martin and Manhunt, travel series like Islands of the Atlantic, Pacific, Australia, Britain, and America, and animal-focused shows featuring horses, dogs, lions, mantas, and more. Philippa also produced one of my all-time favorite movies, Sliding Doors, with the delightful John Hannah. Doc Martin ran in England from 2004 to 2022. It has been and continues to be an international hit. The original show features fantastic writing, acting, editing, and production quality. His most recent incarnation will be an adaptation in the United States called Best Medicine, which will air on Fox, and which is expected in January of 2026. When it comes to Doc Martin, I arrived quite late to the party. My husband and I, on the recommendation of a cousin who knows my viewing tastes very well, told us in June of 2023 that we would enjoy the show. It has an ensemble cast and a beautiful location, and you end up feeling invested in the lives of the characters. That's completely true. I had seen the promotional photos for years on our local PBS station, showing Doc Martin scowling at the camera, basically the join us for another episode of Doc Martin, Friday night, etc. I'm not a huge fan of medical shows anyway. I didn't bother even to look into it. My thinking was, nope, I'm here to watch the news hour. I don't need to watch some grumpy-looking man practice medicine. We have plenty of medical shows in the United States already. I didn't realize that I had seen Martin Clunes in other roles already without knowing it, but more about that another time. We watched the first episode and then immediately watched the second episode and said, this looks like the type of show that we would enjoy. It's not what you'd expect. It's not the highfalutin, snotty, upper crust guy comes to a rural village and aren't those people funny and backwards. It's more like a virus arriving into a teeming soup of antibodies who by their very nature resist the newcomer or at least make things highly unpleasant for him. So we were hooked with that premise. Since that time, I've watched the whole series 5 or more times. We traveled to Port Isaac and we even splurged on staying in the surgery, Fern Cottage, but more on that another time. I've read nearly all the existing fan fiction that meets my interests and have written a number of stories myself because I just wasn't ready to let the show go when it ended. More about that another time too. So why do a podcast and why now? As a new adaptation is on the horizon, I think it pays to rediscover some of the fun of watching the show for the first time. I'd like to discuss the original show, touch on the different characters as they're introduced, cover what we think might be happening next, when it does happen, discuss whether or not we saw it coming. I found some friends who've never seen the show who are willing to watch it and let me interview them to get some of that fresh set of eyes perspective. I may even have my husband come on, given that he has a tendency to fall asleep in front of the television, and so sometimes I'll throw an episode on and he'll be like, I don't remember that, and it's because he fell asleep in the middle of it. When Best Medicine arrives, we'll all get the chance to watch that from the very beginning, compare and contrast it to the original. I have an open mind to the new show. I hope it's a huge success. So click like and subscribe. Set up your notifications so you know when there are new episodes. Come through. It's Podcast Portwenn. I hope you'll join me. Watch this space.